Once my baby has established that she's gaining weight, how can I begin to get her onto a nice schedule? A lot of experts say that by the time your baby is between 4 and 6 weeks old, she will be feeding around 6 to 7 times a day. Now, do your math and you'll realize that this means your baby is eating approximately every 3 to 4 hours. A lot of people believe in on-demand feeding for the first month of the baby's life, and they think that this also can go on once your baby is past the point of being from 4 to 6 weeks old. But I've actually espoused a different thing, and I've tried to get my babies onto a nice schedule. So check with your doctor and make sure he or she agrees with this. But if you do want to try to establish a schedule for yourself and for your baby, here's what you can do. When you first feed your baby in the morning, let's assume it's at 7 a.m., make sure that you look at your watch. Get a good sense of when that feeding is beginning and do your very, very best to give your baby a full feed. Feed your baby on the first side, get as much of the hind milk or the milk that comes later as possible, burp your baby, maybe switch your baby over to the other side, do everything you can to keep your baby awake. You might have to change her diaper repeatedly, you might even have to undress her, and as I've said before, I even had a friend who once held her baby up in front of the air conditioner because it can be so hard with a still sleepy baby to keep the baby feeding. But the basic principle is do your very, very best to establish a full feed, okay? Now, that first feed, let's assume it started at 7 a.m. It doesn't have to be 7. It might be 7:30. It might be 8, but you want to have a nice early time. If that first feed started at 7 a.m., about 1.5 to 2 hours after that first feed occurred, you're going to be swaddling your baby and putting your baby down for a nice nap in her crib if you're home. So the idea is that even if your baby has fallen asleep before, and a lot of babies can tend to catnap, so she might be in a bouncy seat, she might fall asleep before, have this sort of more formal thing where 1.5 to 2 hours after your first feed began, so if it started at 7 a.m., by 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, your baby is swaddled and your baby's in the crib. No later than 3 to 4 hours after when you began that first feed, you are going to wake your baby up. You're going to change her diaper and you're going to begin feeding her again. So here's what your day might start to look like. 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., 7 p.m., 10 p.m., and 1 a.m. And guess what might be happening between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m.? Something that you used to really enjoy doing. Sleep. You might actually be able to yourself get a nice stint of sleep while your baby is also asleep in her crib. Now, in my view, the benefit of this kind of scheduled feeding system is that two things are really happening. Your baby is awake for a lot of the day so that she's able to earlier start to do longer stints at night, and she's getting a lot of the food she needs during the day so she can go a longer period of time at night without eating. So this is something that's really worked for me, and I would encourage you to give it a try. Now, over time, that 1 a.m. feeding will start to drop off, and the 10 p.m. feeding, around 10 p.m., let's not be so formal, but that last feeding will be something that you can also get rid of. And at that point, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to do your final feed for your baby at around 7 p.m. and you're going to be able to go all the way through and not even see your baby until 7 a.m. the next morning. So you'll really be starting to get on a very, very good schedule. And this might happen as early as 4 to 6 months of age. So hang in there, believe me, and try this scheduled feeding, and it might really, really work for you.